The Local Show, sponsored by Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement, on News Radio 570 WSYR, on 106.9 FM, and live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. The Local Show features in-depth conversation with business owners, employees, and influential business leaders throughout Central New York, exploring their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in our growing community. The Local Show is produced locally by Zoe Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back again. Welcome in to The Local Show with Tom and Steve. Tom Soccocio Jr. here, the creative director at Zoe Advertising, along with Steve Roberts, who is the owner of Zoe Advertising, and we're happy to bring you all these local businesses like Dr. Marc Pietropaoli, who's out of Skinny Atlas and is the owner of Victory in Motion, home of knee repair, not knee replacement. He's got a patient with him right now because you're a very patient man.
I knew you were going to play that pun. Yeah. I knew it.
Sam Prine is with us right now. How you doing there, Sam?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good, buddy.
Good.
So you've had an experience with this practice, and what was your issue? What problem do you have?
Well, my knees were hurting. I went to see other orthopedists, and they diagnosed me after x-rays with bone on bone and started talking about knee replacements. And
both your knees?
Yeah, both knees.
Wow.
Well, I had a particular problem in my right knee, but both knees were painful. And I was a carpenter doing flooring for my whole career.
No, that doesn't hurt your knees.
Yeah, not at all. No.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you were a power lifter and you were squatting too much. But
I was doing some of that in the gym, not powerlifting, but Anyway, so I'd been hearing a lot about alternatives to knee replacement online, YouTube videos and stuff like that. And people were going out of the country for like stem cell replacements. I was interested in something like that.
So you didn't want surgery?
I did not want surgery.
Yeah, okay.
I've known a number of people with knee replacements, some very successful, some not so much. But when I heard that they only last, you could confirm this, only like they could last 10, 12, 15 years maybe. And, and then they have to do it again. And that doesn't sound like a good option.
No, that's not a party, is it?
So, I was looking for an alternative solution, and I heard about Dr. Marc over in my town.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, well, that's convenient. Let's do that. And so I went in and saw him, and we went ahead with his procedure, the BMAC.
Would you mind giving us your age?
I'm 74.
So you're 74 now. When were you diagnosed with the bone-on-bone supposed?
About this time last year.
Oh, wow. So it's only a year, yeah.
And I went with Dr. Pietropaoli. In June, we did my procedure.
And so since then, what's the process been for you? I mean, how has it affected your life, I guess, is the question.
Well, first of all, beforehand, I really had a hard time walking upstairs, had to hold on, sometimes do one step at a time. I wasn't able to really work out too well at the gym, couldn't bend and all that.
How was your
stuff.
line dancing? Was your line dancing
dancing was pathetic. And I could be completely healed, and it still would be.
We can't cure that. That's not something we can cure, especially since I can't do it.
Right. I was getting. I'm a musician by trade now.
What instruments do you play?
I play guitar, harmonica. I sing, and
okay.
Several different groups.
Yeah.
So. Petty Thieves, CNY. It's on Facebook, and I'm in Dunes in the Deltunes.
Absolutely.
There we go.
And Gary Dunes, who runs that band, also has another band, Code Red. I'm in that, and I do a duo with him, and he's at GaryDunes.com.
Yeah.
So you can get the schedules
And the Code Red, what kind of music is Gary doing there? That's a different style,
right? 80s, 90s.
90s. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Dunes of the Deltunes, 50s, 60s, 70s, and
of course, Petty Thieves is
Tom Petty.
Rest his soul, right?
Covers.
So having knees that work, how does that affect you, the ability for you to entertain?
Yeah, he told me he needed to move around on stage, and I love. I'm a rocker as well.
Yeah.
You guys always know I wanted to be either a rock star, a fighter pilot, or orthopedic surgeon.
Right.
So I got the least of them. But anyway, so when he said that, I'm like automatically took. We connected, and I was like, oh, we got to get this guy so he can
Move like David Lee Roth again, right?
Well, not quite like that, but I tell you, I was getting to the point I had to sit down for part of my gigs.
Oh, wow.
You know, if not all of them, because I just couldn't stay on my feet. Well, now I'm on my feet. I'm around moving at the gigs, and it's great.
You said like 20,000 steps.
I get at least 20 to 40,000 steps at a gig.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, because it involves now. I also, you know, we're not big time, so we move our own equipment too.
Oh, sure.
So,
what would you tell somebody that you know, they hear about it and they've been told they have a knee challenge, but they're scared to go into something like this because they're not familiar with it? What would you tell them?
I'd say don't be afraid. I mean, it's, I think, way less impactful as far as, you know, side effects than have a knee replacement. I can't imagine doing a knee replacement, to be honest with you, because I did the procedure in late June, 25th, I think, and that day I felt fine. I didn't have really any residual pain to speak of. It was, I will be honest, it was a little painful getting the, you know, the needles and stuff, but he numbed me up real good, and it was tolerable. And the whole thing took less than 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
So it was great, and I was, you know, and I walked out of there, and I, oh my God, this is great. This is, and I also subscribed to his program afterwards, which included laser therapy on the knees, physical therapy and training, and he has a weight loss program because, as you told me, every pound you lose equates to like what, 3 or 4 pounds off of pressure off your joints. So
fantastic. And you can get all that up at your practice, whereas some places, you know, they're sending you here and there. You're going to 4 different providers. Here you have it all up at Victory in Motion, right?
Yep.
So are you saying fat guys have bad knees? Is that what you just said?
There's a correlation. There is a correlation.
And we don't use the word fat. It's big boned.
So the process, doctor, the process, is his typical, or is Sam's different than what someone would normally go through?
I think he's very typical of someone who has, you know, who's been told they need a knee replacement. So they've already kind of gotten to the point where it's pretty bad. And and our goal is to try to get people before that. So I know you've asked me like preventive, et cetera.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, if you've been told that you have some arthritis, you probably should get checked out because you don't want it to get to the point where they say you need it. But having said that, if you are to that point, we can still help you, absolutely. Like Sam's a good example of it. And there's plenty of examples that's exactly like what Sam said, where they were told they needed a knee replacement. They didn't want it. They didn't want to go through that. And they came in, and that's why we are called the home of knee repair, not knee replacement. That is the most common thing we see.
Right.
Will he have to keep getting these injections? Like, how long will this last?
Right. That's a great question. So the goal is that he never has to get those injections again.
Really?
And honestly, knock on wood, we haven't had anybody who we've done the bone marrow injections on that we've had to repeat the injections on. Not saying that's not possible, but just to really quickly go here, there was a study done in France, 140 knees. They injected one knee, so these people had arthritis in both knees. One knee had bone marrow, one knee had a knee replacement, and 82% of those people who got the bone marrow never needed a knee replacement for 10, 15, 20 years. So that's the goal, to try to get that type of relief. It's not 100%, but 82% is pretty good, and we do even more than that.
VictoryInMotion.com, the home of knee repair, not knee replacement. Dr. Pietropaoli, thanks for being here. Sam, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having
me,
guys.
And more information, 685-7544. I know the folks there answer the phone, and they're great, and they answer the questions. 685-7544, VictoryInMotion.com, Tom.
Happy Easter, everybody.